Welcome everyone to the loan officer sales training with the mortgage calculator. We'll wait just a couple of minutes to get started here. Let us go live on all the different platforms. I see some comments already coming in. Feel free to drop some comments as you tune in. We got the chat pulled up on the screen here. Appreciate everybody tuning in early. We'll get into the sales training here in just a moment. Remember, we do these at 12 p.m. Eastern time every day, where we're going to go through some sales training, more of the front end of being a loan officer. So go ahead and drop comments there. And as we go through the presentation, feel free to drop any questions you have in the chat as well. Be more than happy to answer any questions that anyone has. I see some comments coming through here. Thank you everybody for tuning in early. We'll get started in just a moment here. All right. Comments coming in. Appreciate it. Okay. So it looks like we are live on all the different platforms, so we can go ahead and get it rolling here. Good afternoon and good morning to everybody, depending on where you are at in the country watching this. I'm going to go ahead and take the chat off the screen here, and we can get it started. So today we are talking about confidence from competence. So I'm sure a lot of you can work out already what we're going to be talking about here, but it's always good to kind of reinforce this stuff and just make sure that we're doing everything we can to make sure that we're selling the best, right? I know we're loan officers, but at the end of the day, we're salespeople, right? So we're going to go ahead and go through this training here. Now, let me go ahead and go to my next slide here. So what is confidence in the form of what we're talking about here today, right? So when we know what we're doing, we feel confident. That's it, right? That's what we're talking about here in this training. When we know what we're doing, we feel more confident. When we know what we're doing as far as being salespeople on the phone, when we know what we're doing as far as knowing these loan programs, knowing how loans work, that is what will make us feel more confident. Now, the next bullet point there is confidence shows, and it absolutely does. People can see it, they can feel it, because if you're not confident, then they probably think you don't know what you're talking about, right? These things go hand in hand. When we know what we're talking about, we feel confident. And if we don't feel confident, people can sense that and probably think we don't know what we're doing, right? So it's very important for us to be able to feel confident and show confidence and speak confidently when we're talking to clients. This is all extremely important. It makes a huge difference. We're going to make thousands of calls and talk to thousands of people. And the better we are, the higher our conversion rate will be. Remember the law of averages last week that we talked about? It can get a little bit better over time. And part of that is feeling more confident over time. Again, it shows, people can feel it, they can hear it, and it really is something that we need to pay attention to. The next bullet point here is that there's no cheating preparation, right? There is no way around preparing so that you feel confident. Some people might be outgoing salespeople and they might be able to be upbeat and everything, but that's only going to go so far when it comes to the meat and potatoes of the conversation, right? When we're actually answering questions, talking to people, and actually being a loan officer. Being an upbeat salesperson is one thing, but being a prepared loan officer is a whole other thing. So we need to make sure that we're prepared. There is no cheating it. There's no getting around it. If we're going to be a successful loan officer, we need to prepare. So when we're calling some kind of list, we're going to make sure that we're prepared for the type of questions those people might ask, the type of loan programs we might be talking to these people about. We want to make sure we prepare. And again, there's no cheating it. A lot of people are always looking for, and this is an industry where people get into to make money, right? Because it's very lucrative business. And so a lot of people are trying to cheat, find the magic bullet, just, do whatever it takes to try to make some money, some quick money, and they're not focused enough on the big picture and the long term and the fact that you just can't get around it. There's no magic bullet. There's no way that there's no magic place you're going to buy leads from where all of a sudden you're just going to sell if you don't know what you're doing, because you won't be confident. It's going to show. And you cannot get around this. You can't get around preparing yourself. It's just not going to happen, right? So you got to buckle down and do what it takes. Now, let's talk about, how do we prepare? How can we take this preparation and make sure that we're prepared, right? Well, number one thing to be prepared as a loan officer is to know the guidelines, right? Know the loan types. And when I say guidelines, I also mean loan types. The type of loans we have, the LTV of those loans, which are always changing, but we're going to stay updated on it. We're going to know it. And of course, they might change day to day, but for the most part, they're going to be similar, and you'll have similar programs to what you're talking to them about. So it's not just studying guidelines. It's just knowing the different loan programs, the different loan products. I know those of you here at the Mortgage Calculator hear Jose talk, obviously a lot of experience there, but also understand that what Jose talks about currently has nothing to do with his 28 years of experience. What he talks about when he talks about the different loan programs we have and all that, he's talking about what he's learned in the past 2 or 3 months, right? Because they're always changing. So when you ask Jose, hey, who's got an 85% LTV, DSCR purchase, or who's got this or who's got that? Well, it's changing all the time. So yes, Jose knows a lot about Fannie and Freddie off the top of his head, like most loan officers who have been doing it for a long time. But don't think that you can't know just as much as Jose. Even if you're brand new, you absolutely can, because he's only talking about what he's been looking at for the last couple of months. It has nothing to do with him being in the industry for 28 years. Those programs weren't out 28 years ago. Those guidelines weren't the same 28 years ago, right? He's talking about what he's going through in real time. So I hope that can empower some of you to understand, yes, these experienced veterans, people like Jose, they're going to know a lot, and you're going to think, oh, wow, that's what I'm going to have with a lot of experience. Well, yes, you will, but also understand that what they're talking about as far as non-QM and what's going on right now has no bearing on the past, only the past couple of months that you know about these programs. So you can know just as much as Jose does about all of the non-QM products, just even if you've only been a loan officer for 2 or 3 months. It's just, are you studying the guidelines, right? Are you looking at the loan types? Are you attending the different trainings? Which brings me to the next point, is always training. Here at the Mortgage Calculator, we can literally train you to death. We have multiple trainings every single day, 5 days a week. And so participate in all of them. Not just the ones for loan officers, but also the daily rates live ones, the sales trainings, of course, the Tuesday and Wednesday ones, but also in between, also training. When you talk about the guidelines, like I said, Jose's only talking about what is going on right now. As far as Fannie and Freddie goes, you don't need to know much, right? Because DU and the Fannie website and their guidelines pretty much do everything for you. What's important to know is the non-QM type stuff. And again, you can learn that at any time. You can learn it just as much as Jose or any expert, because you have the same exact tools as they do, and you have the same exact amount of time. Maybe you've been a loan officer for 3 months, but guess what? Jose is only talking about the programs that have came out in the last 3 months. So make sure that we're studying, and we're always going to be training. We're going to be talking about these loan programs on all of our different trainings. If you are tuned in to all of the trainings, it's not only going to help you from learning, but it's going to help you to stay plugged in. That's when we're prepared too, right? When we're in it 100% every day, we're getting this information. We're keeping ourselves engaged in the mortgage industry. So it's not just about the knowledge that we're going to receive when we're doing these trainings, but it's keeping our head in the game and staying focused on what we're doing. For those of you who are full-time loan officers, it's very important to take that, maybe hour out of your day or whatever it is to make sure you're doing the trainings that we're putting on and making sure you're going back into your training center and the knowledge center and all that kind of stuff. It's going to make a huge difference, and it's going to positively affect your conversion rate when you are talking to leads. Next bullet point here might seem like a no-brainer, but let me shed some light on this. Practice, practice, practice. Now, what do I mean by that? At the mortgage calculator, what it really means is send quotes, right? You can send practice quotes to yourself, but more importantly, what I would challenge you all to do is make practice quotes for people you know. Ask them their scenario. Not people who are looking to refinance or looking to purchase necessarily, just whatever they're in right now, right? So you have a home. You're not looking to refi, but can you tell me your scenario so I can practice with it, right? Now, when I've told people this in the past, a couple people have gotten deals by doing this, just texting friends and family and saying, hey, I need to do practice quotes. Can you just give me your scenario? Like, what's your approximate credit score? What's the LTV on your home? etc. And send them a practice quote. And you can just tell them, hey, I'm just practicing. I need to come up with, a few practice quotes. And I would, it'd be great if you could let me practice with your loan scenario. Again, you're getting real life practice. You're going to learn a lot from it. And they might just proceed with the quote if you give them some cool options, right? Which a couple people have. So when I say practice, I don't just mean, try to go out there and do some repetitive stuff. I also mean practice in real life. That's the best thing that you can do to practice. I promise you. Solicit your sphere for real life scenarios and try to figure those real life scenarios out and send them a quote. And again, you can just let them know, look, there is no pressure at all. I just need to find people that I can practice on. No pressure, right? Super easy. You guys can ask your sphere that. A lot of people are scared to ask their sphere for business, and stuff like that. But you can all ask that, right? Everybody can ask if they could quote somebody's scenario. Not, hey, will I be your loan officer? Can I be your loan officer? But hey, I have a certain amount of scenarios I need to quote. Would you, mind telling me your scenario? What's the value of your house? What's the LTV? If we did a refinance, would you have wanted cash out or just a rate and term? And what do you think your approximate credit score is? And pretty much right there, you got almost everything you need to send a quote, right? So definitely make sure that you're practicing, and I would highly recommend to practice on real people, and it'll start conversations. So yes, maybe you won't be like those other couple of people who actually got a deal out of this, which is just amazing. But at the end of the day, you can talk to them about it. They might want you to explain it to them. And, again, this is somebody that you're familiar with, somebody that you're essentially practicing with. Then you might have to go look up at the guidelines that they're talking about and explain to them something. And now you're practicing, you're getting into it. You're putting together quotes, you're reading guidelines, you're sending out quotes, you're talking to people about them. And now all of a sudden you got some things going. So practice, practice, practice. And at the mortgage calculator, the best way is to just send people practice quotes. Doing practice quotes on scenarios you make up is great too, but it's way better doing them for real scenarios, because you're going to say, oh yeah, I'll do an 80% LTV practice quote or whatever. But what happens when your friend or family, says, they're at 81% LTV. Now this is a whole different ball game, right? Now it's a real life scenario of, well, how can I get this person from 81% LTV? What could we be doing here? Right. So definitely important to practice. And I would challenge everybody here today. My challenge to everybody here today is to practice on their sphere. Try to get 10, 20, 30 people to allow you to quote their scenario. It's not really hard for them. They're just telling you basic information. Some people may not want to share their approximate credit score with you, but it's not like you're pulling credit or anything, and you're not, but that's kind of the only personal thing you're asking from them, right? Is their approximate credit score. Now, the last thing here kind of goes to what I was talking about with the always training is just constant participation. So constant participation with the trainings, constant participation with events, constant participation on social media. Follow, if you are on Facebook or Instagram or whatever, follow pages that are talking about loans, right? Real estate investors. We talked about on the Facebook group training on how to get in these Facebook groups and become a part of them and provide value. And eventually we will extract business from those. But I'm just talking about here, just being a part of that world. So I'm not just talking about groups now. I'm talking about pages to follow so that your timeline, for those of you who are actually consistently checking their Facebook or their Instagram or, whatever the platform may be, put it in your feed. Get those feeds into your feed. I mean, every single day when I scroll through Facebook and Instagram, yes, I have some family people on there that I'm following and some friends and associates. But at the end of the day, every other post that pops up is something that was a comment on, a post in an investor group or a real estate page that I'm following. There's all kinds of different pages. So it's not just about being in the groups. What I'm talking about right now is turning your timeline from just friends and family and, people in your sphere. That's great. But also mix your timeline in with some actual information from these different pages that you can follow, which again is going to keep you zoned in for constant participation, constant training, right? You're just always learning. Every time I see one of these things, I stop and I go, oh, that's interesting. That's an interesting scenario, or, oh, wow, that's an interesting program, or that's, you're just seeing these come up in your real life, right? I know for those of you that actually check your Facebook and Instagram and stuff, those are being directly inserted into your life. You scroll past your friend just had a baby. Oh, that's great. Here, like and comment, congratulations. And then the next post is something that you're learning from because it's a real estate post, right? It's just injected right into your life. So participate in the trainings, participate in events, participate by following different pages that can not only give you, knowledge, but also motivation. Follow some motivational speakers, some motivational groups. These are all things that are important to stay dialed in 100%. Another thing here, just a side note, one of the chapters in my book is essentially infusing your daily life with more motivational type stuff. And that also goes for when you're taking some time to watch TV, maybe check out some of the programs that have to do with business and building businesses. There's things like, The Profit. We had Marcus Lemonis at our conference last year. That was amazing as a keynote speaker. He has an amazing show called The Profit, where he turns around struggling businesses, even all the way to Shark Tank or whatever. There's shows on the History Channel about people who've built businesses and how the country was built. I mean, there's all kinds of different shows so that even when you're relaxing, I'm not saying you have to do this. Everybody needs some real relaxing time of chilling and maybe watching a movie or something. But even when you're doing things like watching TV, you can replace some of that time with still having relaxing and watching something, but it can also apply to your business. It can apply to motivation and that whole thing. So don't be afraid to mix that into not only your timeline, but also some of your recreational time can still be recreational. I love watching The Profit. I love watching Shark Tank. I love watching these type of shows. I actually enjoy it, but they all motivate you in some type of way or give you some type of insight or show you how you may be able to build your business better while you're still having leisure time. So constant participation. What I mean by that is constant training, constant events, constantly practicing. Put those pages and feeds into your timeline so that you're constantly just engulfed in this entire industry. Don't forget you can do this with just regular motivation too, motivational speakers and people like that. And then also, there's great shows and stuff like that, podcasts that you can listen to maybe while you're driving. Replace that music time with, the Bigger Pockets podcast or something like that. These are all great things that you can do to insert this stuff into your life more. If you're really taking this serious, and I guess this is kind of geared a little more towards the newer loan officers, if you're really going to take this serious and turn this into a lifelong business, one of the most lucrative businesses out there. But if you want to turn it into a lifelong business of a very lucrative position, then this is what you want to do. Just completely, immerse yourself in everything, start to finish, not only while you're doing the job, not only during work hours, but also in every other way. Let's see here. There's some questions. Is there a practice loan application to walk our borrowers through? Well, yeah, you have your practice loan application in the CRM. And you can also walk them through one. Like you can take your application over the phone too, if you'd like. And you can actually go through the application to put the information in while you're on the phone, right? So we have all that kind of stuff in the CRM as well. And then Natasha's asking, can you resend the book list and podcast lists? I guess that was from the other training. I had a list of those the other day. I guess probably try to go back and watch that training to pull up a list. I don't have the list pulled up right now, but as far as podcasts go, definitely Bigger Pockets is a great one, right? And then there's all kinds of other ones. You can just type in real estate. Our podcasts are on Spotify and Apple Music and stuff like that too. The mortgage calculator trainings are also podcasts. So if you miss any of these, you can always, when you're in your car or whatever, pull up Spotify, pull up Apple Music. And if you missed one of our trainings, pop that thing on instead of popping on some music. Now, I love music. I come from the music industry, right? So listening to music is great too. But sometimes if you got a long drive, pop in one of those podcasts, whether it's ours or somebody else's, and use that drive time. What do they say? Drive time university, right? Is what they call it, right? You can be an expert in mortgages just by replacing some of the driving time with podcasts that kind of let you know what to do there. So I don't see any more questions. I think we can go ahead and wrap it up. Again, my challenge to everybody today, as far as practicing this bullet point right here, practice, practice, practice. Please, I challenge you all today. Don't wait till tomorrow to do it or you'll forget. Today, text some people in your phone and just ask them, hey, I need practice scenarios to do that are real life scenarios. Would you mind telling me this information about your scenario? Some of them, you may even get a deal, but don't go into it looking for that because that would be rare. But go into it looking to get practice on real life scenarios. Some of them will have questions about it. And guess what? They're going to get these nice, pretty quotes. And then when they actually do go to do a loan, they're going to know that you're professional, right? When we send at the mortgage calculator, when we send our quotes out, they look amazing. They look professional. People understand that we really do this. And for newer loan officers, these friends and family members, they might not know that you're serious. You send those nice, pretty quotes with your picture on it and all these details and everything. At the very least, they're going to know when they do have a real loan scenario that you know what you're doing. And you can send them a quote within a few minutes and it looks good, especially for the new loan officers. It looks good. It looks professional, and it will help you overcome the people who may already know you. Some of the people who already know you are some of your biggest haters when it comes to doing their loan, because they may not think that you're good or that you're experienced. Sending them practice quotes is a great way to overcome that. Whether they think that now or they remember that later, when they go to do a loan, they'll remember that you are the real deal. Let's see, there's a question. What is the most essential thing loan-wise someone that is brand new should focus on loan products-wise? Well, at the Mortgage Calculator, our favorite product is DSCR, right? And that's the no income, no employment, no job verification loan for investment properties. If you're talking about just regular, primary purchases, of course, Fannie and Freddie, but really the bank statement program is what I would be speaking to people about. Anybody that's self-employed, that bank statement program is the most popular program for primary residences. Right now, at the Mortgage Calculator, our most popular product by far is DSCR loans. But then for primary residences, the most popular product by far is the bank statement loans. So those are the ones that I would be talking to people about, where not every lender has them. Most lenders only have Fannie, Freddie, FHA, VA, USDA, to where we have over 5,000 other products that can assist our clients. But we'll go ahead and wrap it up. Again, please ask for practice scenarios from your contacts, from your sphere. Start quoting them. We do this show every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern. I got some great topics for the rest of this week. I'll send out the link to everybody. So tune in tomorrow, 12 p.m. Eastern time, for the next episode of the Loan Officer Sales Training with the Mortgage Calculator. Everyone have a great day. Let's go out there and send some practice quotes. Take care, everyone.